My mother has kept the same box of borax above her washer for as long as I can remember. There's a good chance one is sitting above yours too. The store never quit selling it. They just moved it down to the bottom shelf and gave eye level to the bottles. $7 for that box, and it does every job I'm about to show you. The bottles up at eye level cost about the same as the box, and each one only ever does the single job on its label. I tried every trick I could find. I kept the 16 that actually saved me money. And number one is something even my mother didn't know. So let's jump in. Number 16, take the lid off your trash can and lean in a little. You scrub that can out every so often, and inside of a week, the smell is right back. What sits at the bottom is a week's worth of whatever seeped out of the bag, soaked down into the plastic, and gone sour. So the next time you wash it out, dry it well, shake half a cup of dry borax across the bottom, and set the fresh bag down on the powder. Whatever leaks lands in the powder instead of the plastic, and the flies and the ants find a lot less down there to come for. The odor sprays run $4 and $5, and all they do is lay perfume over the top. One thing before we go on. Borax is a natural mineral, and natural does not mean harmless. That box lives up on a high shelf, past where a child can reach, same as your bleach. Number 15. The machine that washes everything else in the house never gets washed itself. If your towels come out sour before they've even had the chance to dry, the trouble is in the drum. Detergent and body oil leave a film in there, and mildew settles into it. So once a month, pour half a cup of borax into the empty machine and run it hot and long with nothing else inside. On a front loader, peel that rubber lip back afterward and get down in the fold, because that's where the smell has been hiding. The tablets sold for this run $10, $12 a box, and half a cup of borax does the very same thing. Number 14. Over to the kitchen sink. If it's white porcelain and it's seen a few years of cooking, you know the gray marks I mean, right where you set the hot pans down. That gray is a little of the pan itself. Aluminum and stainless leave a trace of metal behind when you drag them across, and it sits up on top of the glaze. So sprinkle a spoonful of borax onto a wet sponge and go over the marks with a light hand. The gray comes up onto the sponge and the sink goes white again. A new sink runs into real money, and that's before you've paid the plumber to set it in. Number 13. Rust stains. The tablecloth that sat folded in a damp basement box. The shirt that found a rusty nail in the wash. Most stain removers can't touch rust because rust isn't a stain the way coffee is. It's metal settled down into the cloth. So squeeze a lemon into a saucer, stir in about as much borax, and work that paste into the spot with your finger. Let it sit half an hour, then scrub it gently and rinse it through. The lemon does the real work on the rust, and the borax gives you a little grit to scrub with. Test a colored fabric first on a hidden corner, and keep it away from the dryer until the stain is gone for good, because the heat sets it forever. The rust removers I've seen at the store run $7, $8 a bottle, and the lemon was already sitting in the fruit bowl. Number 12. Open a window and take a good look at the screen. All season that mesh has been catching pollen and road dust, and it dims the light coming into the room. Hosing it down just moves the dirt from one little square to the next. So stir a few spoonfuls of borax into a bucket of warm water, take a soft brush to the mesh, and scrub it in small circles, both sides. The water runs through the holes and takes the dirt along with it. A shop wants $30 and up to put new screen in one window, and a good many of those screens just needed a scrubbing. Number 11. Come fall, when the wool sweaters and the good blankets go into the bins, walk on past the mothballs. That smell gets into everything and takes half a year to leave. Shake a light handful of borax across the bottom of the bin, lay a sheet of paper down flat over the powder, and pack your wool on top of the paper so it never sits against the borax. It's the larvae that eat the wool, not the moths, and they hatch out of eggs laid right there in the bin. Borax in the bottom of it can help keep them from getting started, and it does that without putting a smell in your good coat. Press the lid down tight, because the lid does a fair share of the work here. Then set the bin up in the attic or on a closet shelf, not down low where a child would open it. A wool coat with holes chewed through the shoulder runs a couple $100 to replace. Next to that, a little borax in the bin is cheap insurance. Number 10. Somebody in your house has shrunk a good wool sweater. It's folded in the back of a drawer right now because nobody could stand to throw it out. It may not be lost. Dissolve a tablespoon of borax into a gallon of cool water. Put the sweater under and let it soak about half an hour. Cool water, not warm, because heat is what shrank it in the first place. Then lay it flat on a bath towel and work it gently back toward its old shape, from the middle out to the sleeves. Let it dry flat like that, out of the sun. That soak softens the wool just enough that it'll give a little under your hands. Now this is a rescue, not a routine. It doesn't come right every time, and a sweater felted up thick and stiff is likely past saving. But it works often enough to be worth an afternoon before you give up on a $100 sweater. Number 9. Into the bathroom and the corner of the shower that never really comes clean. Those dark spots creeping along the grout and the caulk, back within the week no matter how hard you went at them. Stir borax into a little warm water until it's a thin paste, spread it down the grout lines, and give it 15 minutes before you scrub and rinse. Mildew has to have damp to settle into. The borax dries the spores out, and the fine powder left behind in the grout makes it hard for new ones to take hold, so it often stays clean a good while longer. One rule, don't mix it with bleach or with anything else. It does fine on its own. I used to buy a $6 bottle of mildew spray every single month. I haven't bought one since. Look at what we've used so far. A few spoonfuls of powder, and half the cleaning aisle is out of the cart. That box has barely been opened, and the best of what it does is still down in there. So stick with me. Number 8. This next one doesn't clean a thing. Flowers that mean something to you, from a wedding or a funeral, or the first roses out of your own garden, you can keep those for years. Mix your borax half and half with plain cornmeal and pour a bed of it into a shoebox. Set the blooms down in it so you're looking straight into the face of every one, then spoon more over them a little at a time until nothing has folded over. Put the lid on, slide the box up on the closet shelf, and leave it be the better part of a month. The borax draws the water out of the petals slow and even, and the cornmeal holds each petal right where it stands while that happens. When you lift them out, the color is still in them, not the brown and brittle thing a rose turns into in a closet. The shops that preserve a bouquet for you want well over $100. My mother has roses from her own wedding under a glass dome on her dresser, dried in a coffee can just like that. Number 7. Out to the fence line. Bare wood that sits in the weather goes soft on you, and the termites and the carpenter ants find the soft places first. My husband put new posts along our back line 2 summers ago, $20 a piece, and not one of them went in the ground before he painted it. He stirs a cup of borax into a gallon of hot water, hot enough that it all dissolves, and goes over the raw wood with an old brush. Anything bare out there wants the same, the underside of a deck board most of all. What soaks in can help make the wood a poor meal for whatever would chew on it. Rain carries it back out again, so give it another coat each year, or seal over it once it's dry. Wear your gloves, and keep it off the beds where you grow food, because too much boron in the soil is hard on plants. Number 6. Weeds coming up through the cracks in the sidewalk and the driveway. You pull them, you spray them, and they're standing there again in 3 weeks. So take the box out and pour a teaspoon of dry borax straight down every crack that has something growing in it. It builds up in that little bit of dirt trapped down there, and the weed can't take it. But this one has a hard rule on it. Wherever you pour it, nothing is going to grow for a long while. Keep it well away from your lawn, your flower beds, and any tree roots you'd hate to lose. And don't do it the evening before a hard rain that will wash it out across the grass. A jug of weed killer runs $8–9, and I bought one every year and was still out there spraying the same cracks come July. Number 5. Pull the stove out from the wall sometime and you'll find out who else has been living in the house. Roaches and silverfish travel the same roads every night. Along the baseboards, behind the cabinets, back in the dark corner of the closet where the silverfish get into your linens. Lay down the finest dusting of borax you can manage along those runs. So light you can hardly see it on the boards. It clings to their legs, they clean themselves the way bugs do, and that's the end of it. Pile it up though, and they'll just walk around the edge of it and never carry a speck of it home. It takes a few weeks because it has to reach the ones you never see. Now, common sense here, behind and underneath only, never out in the open where a child or a dog can get at it. An exterminator wants $100 just to come out and have a look. A box of borax costs about $7, and you never have to make the call. Number 4. There's a brown ring at the water line in your toilet, and that's hard water minerals. No brush is ever going to move them. So pour a cup of borax into the bowl before bed and leave it be. No flushing. The borax softens that scale and breaks its grip on the porcelain. In the morning, one turn with the brush, one flush, and that ring is gone. Make sure the bowl is clear of whatever cleaner you used last because you never want products mixing in there. And if you've got a dog that drinks out of the toilet, put the lid down for the night. The heavy bowl cleaners are $5–6 a bottle, and the ring always came back anyway. Number 3. Every spring, the ants find the same way in, usually under the sink or along the back door. You wipe the counter down and you've killed the few you could see. The nest out there is making more before supper, so don't fight them at the counter. Feed them. Stir a teaspoon of borax into a cup of sugar water until it dissolves, and soak 2 or 3 cotton balls in it. Sweet is what they came for, and they'll carry it home to the rest of them. It's slow, and slow is the point, because the nest has passed it all around before it ever does a thing. That bait is sweet, so keep it in a jar, never loose on the floor. Punch a few holes in the lid, drop a cotton ball inside, screw the lid on tight, and set the jar along their path. The ants walk right in. Nothing else can. The little ant traps at the hardware store run $5, $6 a box, and more than a few of them are just this same bait in a plastic shell. Number 2. When a dog or a cat brings fleas in, the ones you can see are the least of your trouble. The eggs and the larvae are down in the carpet, and that's why the whole thing starts over a week after you thought you'd won. So vacuum the room first, hard, and carry the bag straight out to the trash outside. Then sprinkle borax over the carpet and sweep it down between the fibers with a soft broom, especially where the animals sleep. It pulls the moisture out of those eggs and the young down in the fibers, and that can break the cycle. Let it sit a few hours, then vacuum the whole room again. Whatever the animal is carrying has to be handled on its own, and that's a question for your vet. Hear me on this one. Shut the door on that room and keep it shut, kids and animals both, until you've run the vacuum back over every inch, and never put the powder on the animal itself. Between the vet's treatment and a couple of foggers, a bad flea season runs $60, $70. The carpet end of that bill is the part you just crossed off. One quick word before we move on. A cat can bring the fleas in, same as a dog, but cats lick their coats clean, so if it's a cat you've got, ask your vet before any powder goes down. All right, number 1 is next, and it's the one that saves the most. Go ahead and click that subscribe button before we get there, and turn on the notifications too. Now, here we go. Number 1. Back to my mother's washer, and that same box sitting up over it. This is the big one. She's used it her whole life the way most of us do, a scoop tossed in with the detergent on a heavy load. What she never knew, and I didn't either until a few years back, is that you don't have to buy the detergent at all. 3 things make it. 1 cup of borax, 1 cup of washing soda, and 1 bar of plain laundry soap grated up fine. Stir it together dry, keep it in an old ice cream pail with a scoop in it, and use 2 tablespoons for a full load. I mix a batch up on the counter for $3 or $4, and I don't come back to that pail for about 30 loads. I walk right on past the laundry aisle now. The soap lifts the dirt off the cloth, the washing soda takes care of the hard water, and the borax carries the odor away with the rinse and leaves the whole load a little brighter. A while back, I showed you how to make a jug of detergent last a good deal longer. This is the step past that one. You stop buying the jug. A few honest notes. It doesn't make much suds, which is just what a high-efficiency machine wants. Even so, go a little light on it in one of those. If you wash in cold, stir your 2 tablespoons into a mug of hot water first so it dissolves all the way through. And don't wash your wool and your silk in it week after week, because those want a gentle soap and nothing stronger. The name brand jugs are $20 and better now, and my house used to go through one about every 5 weeks. All that time, the answer was sitting on the shelf above my mother's washer, right where it always was. She always said the Lord gives us plain, useful things and leaves it to us to notice them. 16 jobs, 1 box, $7. Now I want to hear yours. Is there a borax trick in your family that I left off this list? Put it down in the comments. I read every single one. And it looks like YouTube has another money saver sitting right up there waiting for you. Go have a look at it, and I'll see you over there.